This past week, it appears Jesuits have gotten my apartment's management because my toilet quit flushing and I had to call them for maintenance. And they sent people to fix my toilet who didn't seem to know what they were doing. In short, the toilet's fill valve was installed without adjusting it for height, so that the water level in the back tank was too low and there wasn't enough water for a proper flush. In short, the toilet would not flush properly. I had to figure out on my own what was wrong with the toilet. It took me hours of playing around with the fill valve and water levels in the back tank because I'm not a plumber, and I had to instruct my apartment's management about what I knew the problem to be. The water level in the back tank was too low. Their response was irritation for daring to tell them what they were doing wrong with my toilet, and one of their maintenance people came over to fix the toilet, only to lecture me for messing with the valve that adjusts the height for the fill valve as I attempted to make the water level in the back tank higher, and that was all they did for the visit, except to agree with me that I probably needed a new fill valve, but they didn't have the new fill valve available for some strange reason. They insinuated that I broke the toilet when I tried to adjust the fill valve for height. To make a long story short, I called up maintenance and told them the toilet either needed a new fill valve that would get the water level in the back tank higher, or that when their guy installed the new fill valve, he failed to adjust it for height, and once it got put into the toilet, it could not be adjusted further. The main adjustment to a fill valve has to happen before it's installed, and for some strange reason, the maintenance worker failed to do this, and so my toilet didn't work. My apartment's management never apologized for their error and just got irritated at me for being brilliant enough to figure out what they did wrong. I suspect that Loree McBride may have paid them to try and make me look crazy, because every time their maintenance people came over, they seemed more concerned about the fact that I kept bumping into things because Jesuits were using brain control on me, or that I had left my keys in the door overnight, that's also because of Jesuit brain control, than they were in fixing my toilet. The good news is, after I told them I was 100% sure I knew what was wrong with the toilet and gave them detailed instructions about how to fix it, the toilet works great now after I babysat their maintenance worker who came over to ensure he did the job right. However, the response I got from my apartment management on the day they finally came over to really fix my toilet was, "Will you be there when they come over to fix it?" "Of course, that's why I called," I said. This apartment manager apparently remembers with great clarity the one time they came over to install new windows to my apartment in 2015, and I was sleeping in. I had to quickly get dressed, and they had to knock on my door very loud to get me to let them in because I was sleeping. The reason this happened is because the day before, when the window installers came to measure the windows, I asked them if I needed to open the doors to let them in the next day when they installed the windows. They said no. They said they would do all the work from the outside and didn't need for me to open the doors to let them in, so I slept in. Apparently because of this misunderstanding, which I explained to the apartment management and which they have conveniently forgotten, they have never forgiven me for sleeping in that one time when the window workers came over to install the new windows and I was sleeping in, and they had to wait about 15 minutes before they could come in to install the new windows. You see, it's okay. It's okay for me to be inconvenienced and for me to have to wait 5 days to have my toilet fixed because they either deliberately or stupidly installed the wrong fill valve or failed to adjust it for height. But if I have a misunderstanding with them because of their poor and confusing communications and sleep in when their window installers show up, that is the unforgivable sin. So, I make them wait 15 minutes one time, and they get in a big huff and write it on their memory books forever as I'm the crazy lady who does strange things, so they're entitled to treat me like garbage. But if they make me wait 5 days to have a toilet that works, and I only have one toilet in this apartment, and I have an irritable bladder, that is perfectly all right. I guess because I'm the crazy lady, I therefore have no rights. They also practice very confusing communications and blame me for misunderstanding them. Because they are lousy communicators, I misunderstand them. I suspect Loree McBride is behind all this. You see, Loree McBride in court claims I'm crazy, and therefore the real Brent Spiner could never love me. Anyways, I told my men to investigate my apartment's management because I smell an evil Jesuit fish. Another thing that happened to me is that because of the Gail commandments, I do a lot of laundry. And the Jesuits don't like this because my obedience to the Gail commandments is causing some of them to die because my Gail shield takes evil Jesuits out who threaten my life. They have apparently broken one of the dryers in my laundry room that looks like it is at least 15 years old. But the trick is, it seems to only break when I use it. So last time I went to apartment management for the third time to say the dryer stole my money. They gave me the money with the snooty reply, "You're the only one who complains about that dryer. I called the folks who fix my laundry machines. Each time they check the dryer, they say it's fine." Having had experience with this management before with my air conditioner in 2012, I know better than to argue with them. I just walk over to another building and use a dryer that I know will work. Once he gets his mind made up that I'm crazy, he won't change it. Jesus told me he's not a nice person. In fact, once Zach Knight, when Zach was bad, paid him some money to be bad towards me with this noisy air conditioner unit that sits outside my bedroom wall, and he failed to do what Zach wanted, but took the money anyways and refused to refund it to Zach. Zach wanted to install a yeasty air conditioner that would make my yeast infection worse at the time, as the replacement for the noisy one. The apartment manager didn't want to do this, but instead took Zach's money and refused to reimburse Zach for not doing what Zach wanted. At the time, I was complaining because the AC was making too much noise and interfering with my sleep. My men actually came over one time around 2013 and replaced the AC for me, putting in a unit that looked exactly like the old one so no one would know they did it. It worked for a while, but Jesuits came up with a way, probably using a combination of brain control on me and other methods, so that even the new AC made noise. Fortunately, the noise was livable. Jesus told me to drop the AC issue with my apartment management, so I never bring it up anymore, and the AC seems to work fine now. There's an old saying, if it doesn't make sense, there's a buck in it. Loree is probably paying people to do her bidding, and her bidding right now is to claim I'm crazy. And therefore, the real Brent Spiner had a willing and knowing sexual relationship with her. She's been flaunting pictures of her son Jackson online to prove that she and Brent are married. Actually, she's married to the evil Brent Spiner clone who has hijacked the real Brent's Twitter. And actually, she obtained her child and her marriage to Brent using drug rape in 1992 to sabotage Brent Spiner's love for me, which happened in 1990 and afterwards. The reason the Jesuits obtained Brent's semen from their September 1992 drug rape and used it in 2001 to impregnate Loree and deliver a child for the sole purpose of ensuring that Brent would never be able to marry the woman he's dreamed about 24/7 for over 20 years, me. They have raised that child, named Jackson, as an evil Jesuit, and he seems to have morals no better than his mother. I'm just wondering why this maintenance worker, who claimed to be an expert plumber because of his extensive experience in construction, was unable to do the simple job of installing the fill valve like it says on the box, to adjust it for height first before you install it in the toilet. I won't even go into the time that Loree bribed an entire police department in South Carolina to work with criminals to try and burn down my mobile home in 1998 and used a look-alike of my son to set fires outside my mobile home while I was inside with my son in crutches, handing pails of water to my son to put out the fires, like every 15 minutes for 2 hours nonstop. I saw what my real son was doing, and he was not setting fires outside the doors like Loree said in court. She claimed that my son was crazy like me and was so confident in the Jesuit order's control of everything that she felt she had her back covered because they had a look-alike outside setting the fires and made sure my evil neighbors witnessed the event. When Jesuits commit crimes, they know how to cover their butts, often using advanced technology nobody knows about. The result is that they become very arrogant and cocky when we take them to court over their crimes. But Jesuits, you may fool the world. Or you may even fool me or your victims like Brent Spiner and me. But you don't fool God. They seem to forget this. In the end, justice will prevail. I'm very proud of Donald Trump. He has been enforcing my conspiracy law and executing evil Jesuits. I've noticed that Loree McBride's obsession at her Twitter is to complain about Trump and has her son, Jackson, who she obtained through artificial insemination with semen she obtained through Brent Spiner drug rape, holding up signs, participating in marches against Trump with pride. You see, Trump is evil to her because she has not been able to buy or obtain his evil cooperation against me like she has my apartment management. I stay here because I can't afford to live anywhere else right now. Other than some maintenance issues, this is not a bad place to live. I predict my next home will be with Brent Spiner as his wife.